Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Let's get an update on what's going on in Washington with this horrific mudslide that seems to be being ignored primarily from the national media, but we want to stay with this. There's a lot of people missing, and this is one of the major tragedies this year of 2014 here in America, if not the largest disaster we've had this year. Now, there's a story. First of all, you need to know there has been 24. This is unofficial, but there are 24 people dead. 16 of those bodies have been recovered. There's 8 more bodies that have been located but have not been fully recovered yet. And so we wait on that information. There is a story coming out of Washington on what happened this past Saturday. This is what took place. Of course, this was March 22nd, 2014. This was how last Saturday morning began for Linda McPherson. She's 68, and her husband Gary, who is 78, better known as Mac. They were in their twin reclining chairs in the living room, easing into the day, when without a warning, a few minutes later, just before 11 a.m., their world and everything around them was shattered. A giant wall of water-saturated earth exploded their house in a roar of mud, rock, and forest, destroying much of the tiny community of Oso and killing at least 16 in that community. Well, the McPhersons were swept apart, and her in one direction and him in another. And when things stopped moving, the house ripped into pieces and shoved 200 feet from off its foundation. Mr. McPherson found himself trapped. He could breathe but not reach the surface of the enveloping muck. His leg was pinned by a beam of the house, and he had just been sitting in. He reached around and found a stick where he lay, perhaps part of his recliner, and began fighting for his life, digging at the mud. He was able to poke up through the rubble, said his sister-in-law, Irene, and friends spotted him struggling and dug him out. As they helped him out, Mr. McPherson begged his rescuers to leave him and find his wife. Please find my wife. They did, but she had died. You can imagine the horrific scene, caught totally unaware from this massive, unbelievable, what seemed to be like the mountain was melting, just like it says in Isaiah chapter 64. And just pray for these families. Please pray for these victims' families. There are just 24 that we know looks like are dead, but 170 are still missing. And this is a horrific situation, and our hearts just break for these folks. And we just pray that our nation will understand some of the things that are coming upon us. Do we have God in our lives? Are we serving God? Do we know where to turn in the time of trouble? And I think it's really important that we refocus our priorities and give our lives to Jesus Christ. We're living in the last days. It's time to accept Christ as your Savior. I'll be right back with some more current world events and how they relate to Bible prophecy in just a moment.